I've been spending so much time complaining about winter that I didn't realize that spring is almost here. It's a beautiful day out today. We're out here enjoying the little bit of sun, and I still haven't cleaned up the greenhouse. My earliest spring perennials are starting to pop up. I see bulbs, and I need to be starting to think about that first early crop that I want to get done. I need to start getting the starts done in the next couple days here to germinate them inside the house and then get them out and plant them in the greenhouse. I think that there's going to be enough heat in here to protect those colder weather crops overnight from getting frozen, and maybe this year I'll be able to get an entire harvest before we even come to our usual first planting date. So that's my wish, but I have some work to do, so come on with me. There's a lot of mess in here. All this tomatoes have to come out. I've done nothing for these tomatoes. And in the center section, not only do I have to take down all the dead plants, but I also have a bunch of string that's worked in here that needs to come down as well too. So I have easy access across the center of the greenhouse here. The plan is that when this is all taken out, we can actually cover this with folding tables, and this can become an area that we spread out our seedlings so they can, take advantage of the greenhouse. And then on the far sides, I'm gonna have greens and other cold weather crops planted out. Here's a before shot of my compost, and you are gonna see just how full it's gonna get by the end. That looks about a million times better already. Still got a little bit more work to do, but it's clean up pretty quickly. Our greenhouse is just a really primitive greenhouse. We just have metal piping covered in plastic, and then, a front and a back built onto it to, close it in. We designed the greenhouse to be able to grow stuff well in the summer, so because of that, the sides roll up, which means in the wind and the cold weather, they've kind of opened up a little bit, and we get some cold air coming in. To prevent some of that and to kind of close up the greenhouse and really maximize the heat, I have been putting boards in along the side to really hold it down, closed a lot stronger. I've done that on one side, and I still have a bit of that to do on the other side, and I find so far it's made a big difference. It has improved the heat that we can keep trapped in here. Also, I have the door open right now. Keeping the door shut, that's gonna make a big difference too. Pretty excited to have everything cleared out. I don't like to clean up the garden until I'm actively using it. I feel that the dead plants, they keep, some bug habitat, so I didn't want to rip everything out. Plus, I liked it. I thought it looked kind of nice. It was nice to have that backdrop to remind me of, you know, just how amazing this greenhouse was throughout the summer. You know, that wall of dead tomatoes reminded me of that wall of living tomatoes it had been. So, you know, it was time for it to go, but that's because it's a new season, new start, new things to get green, new things to be excited about. When Ian and I designed this greenhouse, part of the design was that in these shoulder seasons, in this kind of spring period when we don't have it planted out with all the tomatoes and the eggplants, or, you know, in the fall when we should have had some crops growing in here, it can kind of do dual purpose. The layout's a little weird how we have this skinny bed down the center, but the idea of that skinny bed was that we could pull out the plants, still be able to plant the outer sides of the greenhouse, and then have the center to have a table across it, like what I have right now, and it can basically get turned into the potting bench, but still have access to some growing areas. So I pulled out one of my tables and I'm really happy so far with how it's fit in here. This table is smaller than the main table that I have, so my main table I think is actually going to straddle the bed quite well, whereas this one kind of has to block everything. But you know, we have a couple sawhorses too. We can build a temporary table into here to suit our use of the greenhouse, and I think that it's gonna end up being a really nice potting shed for doing all those seedlings that I want to grow. Classic story for this time of year. I'm busy cleaning, busy planning, busy getting everything to start. So this was my first job, getting this greenhouse back in order, kind of getting it to be reset to get ready to go for the spring season was the first thing I had to do before I can then start to do all these seedlings. So that's the next thing on my list. That's the next thing I'm going to be working on. So let me know what you think. Let me know if it's looking a lot better. I've been razzed a little bit about how dirty my greenhouse is, and no apologies. You better get used to having dead plants around. That's how we do things here. You don't want to make extra work for yourself, and it is much easier to pull out 3-month dead tomatoes than it is to pull out fresh tomatoes. So, something to consider.